Hello, you're welcome back to my channel. So if you're new here, thanks for stopping by and please consider subscribing. And if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. So today we'll be making a Danshiki dress with a v-neck collar. Okay, so I'll be using this Ankara for the Danshiki and I'll use this velvet fabric for the v-neck part, and then there will be a patchwork at the front, okay, of the Danshiki. So quickly we'll go. I want to make the length of this danshiki to be 45 inches. So opening the Ankara fabric, okay, I'll have to measure from the top here. I'll measure 45 inches. So at 45 inches I'll double the length. Now I'll fold it this way. So making sure that I have 45 inches on both sides. You can see I pinned this part and this side as well. So I'll fold it into two again. So this is the 45 inches I have as my length. Now the length I have here includes the hemming allowance, okay? So I'll simply cut out the excess. On the folder part, I have the shoulder, the shoulder line. Okay, so this will be a cut together sleeve. So the measurement you will need is to measure from your mid shoulder to where you want the sleeves to end. So for this, I'll just use the length that I have here, okay, on the Ankara. So the length we have here is 22.5 inches. Now for the neckline, I'll simply get a basic neck first, okay? So I'll make it 4.5 inches width, and for now I'll be making 2 inches depth. Okay, so I'll simply curve this. You can use your free hand or you can use your curve. So I will cut this out. Now remember, this is for the front and the back at the same time. So I'll decide which part I want to make the front part. So before I do that, I will notch the midpoint. So notching the midpoint, I will open it up this way. For the notch here, I will decide which part I want to make the front part. So I'll just choose any part, okay, since it was a cut together kind of thing. There's no difference of the front and the back, so make sure you arrange this well. So opening it up, this is what I have, okay? So like I said, I'm making this part my v-neck now. Now remember, we use 2 inches depth. So from these 2 inches, I'll decide to make it either 7 inches or 8, depends on what you want. So I'll go with 8 inches, okay? At that point of 8 inches, I'll measure ½ inch so that when we are opening it up, we'll have 1 inch. So then I'll connect this ½ inch to the neck width that we already have here. So that will form the v-neck. So now cutting this out, the ½ inch first and then the slant. So now the color will be all round kind of color, okay? So open this up now. We have this. Now remember, I said when you open up the ½ inch, we'll have 1 inch. So there we have our 1 inch. And for the all-round color, I'll be using the velvet. So to know the length I'll be working with, I'll measure it round, from this point, from this corner, I'm measuring it round. So I'll stop at the next corner and I have 32 inches, okay? So for the length of the velvet, I'll make a straight one. I have this stripe for the all all round collar. Okay, so I measured it 36 inches by 2 inches. 36 inches by 2 inches. Okay, and then this is the patch. I measured it on fold. I measured it on fold 5.5 inches, and then I have the length of 15 inches. I can choose to reduce the length, this length depends on how I would like it to look, the final look of it. So, and at the corner like this, I would like to shape it some more. So at one corner, I'll go up with 4 inches. 4 inches. I'm measuring 4 inches this way as well. Now for a velvet like this, you need to add interface to give it some stability. Okay, so I didn't want to waste my interface, that's why I didn't add it before cutting. So I'll definitely add it. You can choose to add paper stay, gum stay, that hard gum stay, or a stay, depends on what you want. But for this, I'll be using a stay. Okay, so this is how it will look like. And then after adding the interface, iron 1/2 inch this way, 1/2 inch all round before I finally place it on the dress. And then this strap to that serves as the all round collar. I'll be adding interface to it as well. So we have our pieces all with interface added. Okay, and I iron the 1/2 inch inwards. So now I will fold this back into 2, and you can do well to just sew this together so it will be easy for you to attach it to the neck. So after sewing it together, you notch the midpoint, and then you bring back the dress. Remember the notch we did for the back and the front. Okay, we still have the notch for the back, so you bring your midpoint to the notch we have here on the back neckline, and you use 1/2 inch to sew. Sew this way, sew straight, sew it this way until you stop at this corner. Remember the 1 inch spacing we have here. Okay, same with the other side. So after sewing it round like this, you note the corners that you have here. Now remember, we use 1/2 inch to sew, so you will just notch 1/2 inch. Okay, you notch it to the point that you have your seam. Don't notch it beyond that point. Okay, so when you have that, you now push this inwards. So you ensure that you arrange this well and make it neatly. Then you pin this down and you open this way and sew this point down. Don't sew on this part of the dress, just where you have your allowance. Okay, you sew this down together and trim out the excess. So when you're done with your v-neck, this is what it looks like. The next thing, you bring in the other piece that we added interface. Okay, and just place it, place it where you have the seam on the v-neck. Just place it this way, and then you pin it down. And because we've already ironed the 1/2 inch that we need for the seaming inwards, so we'll just trade on this. Okay, very close to the edge, taking to the corners all the way around. Okay, so we are done with the neck, and this is what it looks like. So the next thing we'll be doing the sleeve opening, the seam, and the hemming. So we'll just take this straight to the hem and make sure it's equal. Make sure it's equal on the other side as well. Make sure it's equal on this other side as well, and then you fold it into 2. Taking it straight to the shoulder. Okay, make sure it's equal. Okay, Okay, so from my shoulder, I'll be using 15 inches from the shoulder line. I'll be using 15 inches as my opening for the shoulder line. You can make it lesser than this, you can make it 10, but I want it more free, okay, than normal. So I'll just notch that part. And now I replicate that on the other side as well. So with this, I'll use 1 inch as my seam all the way from this opening to the hem, and I will use that same 1 inch to do the hemming for the sleeve opening. Okay, at the hem here, I'll be using 2 inches. I'll first of all interlock, use 2 inches as my hemming, and that's it for our Danshiki dress.